take this opportunity to introduce Khyati ma'am. Miss Khyati Dwarkadas is an experienced PGT HOD Social Science and STNS from GOPI BIRLA Memorial School, Mumbai. She is action-oriented, self-motivated, accomplished, and an ambitious person. Worked as a teacher in the secondary and senior secondary sections of the institute with over 23 years of experience. Rather, I would say it's an enriching experience, bringing out all-round holistic development of the students. Talents include organizing and planning events. She's a resourceful person for the CBSE and a master trainer. Miss Khyati has extensive knowledge and strong communication skills to be a very good administrator and a strong team leader. So let's all put our hands together and welcome Khyati ma'am. Khyati ma'am, I leave the team with you to take over. If you have a PPT to share, you have got the sharing rights. Team, please, towards the end of the session, we are going to have a QA round. You can put in your queries that time in the chat box, which will be answered by Khyati ma'am. Nevertheless, as the system goes, you all will have to fill up a feedback form, which will be marking your attendance towards the end. Please do not leave without filling the feedback form. Khyati ma'am, over to you, please.
Thank you so very much, ma'am. Can I please have my video spotlighted?
Yes, ma'am, I'm doing that.
Thank you. So it's so nice to see so many of you here as educators. In fact, I believe some principals have also registered. Thank you, Jayashree ma'am, for inviting me to this ORCID platform. It's truly been a privilege to be a part of the ORCIDs this morning. So I am going to share with you a very short PPT, because I believe more than a PPT, it is what interaction you do as educators in the fraternity of social sciences that matters. Nothing else beyond the interaction of educators matters in this world. So obviously, I'm going to be sharing the PPT. Just allow me to share my screen, please. Yes, thank you so much. And let us begin. So I was introduced very nicely and kindly by today's host. So thank you so much, ma'am. And I hope you can see at any point in time, if you, if you wish to talk to me, I will give you the permission to unmute. The more interactive the session you make, the better will be the learning and the interaction. Let us keep in mind, I am not here as a teacher. I am here as a facilitator to make your experience of your classroom and interaction in social science all the more enriching. So let's look forward to more and more probable interactions, and we will do a great, fantastic job together. So today's objectives. So as I was made aware, there is a little confusion that people do feel when it comes to formats of answers at CBSE, or common errors made by students in CBSE exams, art integration, which has now been introduced as a mandatory aspect of social sciences. And obviously, a lot of people feel that there should be something that helps in better learning of concepts. So these are the general things which we will be covering today. I have an assessment form as well for all of you. So it would be advisable for you to take down important things. There will be always something that you may want to take back to your classrooms after today's session. So let's see what works best. Let's take one thing at a time. Let's deal with the format of the CBSE paper, particularly in term 2. Now, if you look at the term 2 paper format, the paper has been divided into 5 sections, A, B, C, D, and E. And they say over there, all the questions are compulsory. And in section A, they have given you 5 questions, which are of the very short answer type questions of 2 marks each. So it becomes 2 5s are 10. And they say each question should be answered within 40 words. So obviously they expect complete sentences in answering. At the same time, they expect the students like, so does the CB pattern goes, 1 mark for 1 point generally. So 2 points, but 40 words. So a set of well-explained points scores better than merely listing of points. In section B, you have question numbers 6, 7, and 8, which are 3 mark questions. And their answers should be within 60 to 80 words. Once again, a mere listing of points does not give you full scores. It's an explanation of points. Question 9 and 10 in section C are the 5 mark 120 word questions, which are the descriptive extended response answers and should be very well explained in 120 words. Section D has question 11 and 12, which are the case study or the source-based questions. And section E has question 13, a map carrying 3 marks. Part 1 of that map is from history and part 2 is from geography for 2 marks. Now, overall in the paper, there is no choice. However, internal choice has been provided in a few questions if you see the board sample paper. And at the each section, they tell you how many questions you're expected to answer. So when you go to see the board pattern, what we just saw, they tell you in the very short answer questions of 40 words, you have 5 questions of 2 marks each, making it 10. Section B has the short answers, 3 questions with 1 internal choice for 3 marks per question, making it 9 marks. Section C has 2 questions and both have internal choices, which are 5 mark questions for 10 marks. Section D are the 2 case studies or the source-based questions, but quite surprisingly, they've given you even a breakup in the sample question paper on the website, where they say the first question and the second question will be of 1 mark each, and there'll be a 2 mark question. So each case study per se has 4 marks. They've given you a breakup of those 4 marks, and that totals to 8 marks. And section E is your map work, where you have 1 mark in history, 2 marks in geography, and the geography has 1 internal choice. Plus, in the new curriculum, they have, even in the term-wise curriculum, that is the new current curriculum that we follow, in the term 2 curriculum, you will see the narrowing down of map work as well. They've listed what can be asked. So till a year or 2 ago, pre-pandemic, we were teaching close to 140 items, map items in geography, and close to 11 or 12 map items in history. And history was invariably just 1 mark for 11 and 12 items, but geography, we were teaching close to 140 map items for 2 marks. Apparently, that has really been watered down to term 2 curriculum only, and very simple things. So it's like you close your eyes and you would know it. So this makes the term 2 40 mark paper. 10 marks are your internal assessment, which include your subject enrichment activities, your portfolio, your multiple intelligence assessment, and the PA. Then we have common errors made by students in the examination. And when we come to this, I have this Menti link for you, which I'm going to quickly share in the chat box. I would really appreciate everyone heading on to the Menti. Menti, in any case, is one of my favorite engaging activities. You can also use it. I love Menti, I love Padlet. So I don't think many have joined Menti. You need to join my Menti. I've shared the link with you. Aha. I can see one person having joined and written. I await more people to come before I share my screen. The fun in an interactive and engaging online session is your participation. The aha moment of the classroom is when students and in an online session, educators engage in activities. I can barely see participants join. The word cloud is forming. Slowly, people are gearing up. It's a warm-up exercise. Come on. Sonia ma'am, you've tried your own name in the common errors. Wonderful. All right, so only 12 people have so far reached the Menti screen. And I'm going to share the Menti screen with you. So here's what you can see. The word cloud. 17 of you have joined. And in the word cloud, you can see the words glowing up as you see the common errors that you think students are making. And I do see people saying map work, spellings, sun, strange, solar system, images, small I for India, okay, short forms, 40, word limits, study based on marks, prioritizing concepts, spellings, hidden, the English language errors of there and there, adhere to word limit, long answers, dates, years, numbering, markings, I don't understand that, main points, forget to put question numbers, wonderful. Kudos to you, whoever wrote that, misunderstanding concepts. So if you look at what you are writing, it tells me that instead of social sciences, we happen to be seeing more of English language and literature in our papers. Let me remind one and all, at the CBSE, social sciences is different from English. Teachers somehow in social science, in the social science package, happen to teach English here and there. But when assessing, evaluating social science answer scripts, spelling mistakes are not to be considered at the CBSE. unless it's a grave mistake, like you have been asked the name Mahatma Gandhi and the student doesn't spell it correctly. Or you've asked for the name Chauri Chaura and the student writes a different name. Otherwise, even while reading, if you can read it correctly, it is acceptable since it is not a language paper. So that solves your first common error of spellings. That will also eliminate your small grammatical errors of there and there. I do not say that you need to not to stress on them. As teachers in the classroom, right up to grade 10 pre-boards, even I tell my students that yes, you need to look into spellings, grammatical, sentence formation, sentence construction, but those are not the common errors. The common errors that we normally notice is something that has come very minutely over here on your screens, misunderstanding of concepts. So for example, now if you have asked terms of credit, so let me see how many teachers of economics are here and they can answer what are terms of credit for me. I guess I'll have to stop sharing the screen to see the chat. Yes. You can quickly tell me what are the terms of credit in economics, grade 10. So what I'll do is I'll try and change the chat settings so that, okay, I can't. Probably the host can do that. They can change the chat settings to only me and not to anybody else. So teachers feel comfortable in sharing the chat. Yes, a direct message chat only to me.
Ma'am, it's been done. The settings have been changed.
Thank you so much.
Mitu, so, I think you have done the setting change to yourself. Make ma'am as the co-host and then only she will be able to do it.
Ma'am is the co-host and I've changed the setting.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. So I only saw one message coming in, which is not on the question I asked. My question was, economics teachers in grade 10, what would you expect in an answer on terms of credit? So I see interest rate. Is that only one point that we see in terms of credit? Collateral, lovely. Documentation and the mode of repayment. Congratulations to all those of you who got your answers correct. So we are obviously aware that this is what we are going to be looking at when we talk about terms of credit. So if a child does not give you these 4 points when you have asked for terms of credit, you obviously are not going to be giving marks. So just as in the chat, I was saying when we asked for terms of credit, somebody wrote, credit is something that comes to you. So that's a misconception. We have asked for terms of credit and somebody has written credit is something that comes to you. So that means the child has not understood the concept. And this, we need not wait for the pen paper test. We can do this diagnostically or in a formative manner while teaching our main concepts. And in today's session, I will give you a few hints of how you can quickly do that without wasting much time and getting a feedback of what the learners have actually learned. Similarly, if you were asked about the national movement And I know invariably over the years, I have seen students writing, when national non-cooperation movement is asked, you will find answers about the Dandi March. And when you ask anything to do about the Dandi March, you will only find everything to do about the non-cooperation movement and boycotting foreign goods, foreign courts, and people using Indian goods, making bonfires. Students think these are the common answers. Gandhi ji mein kahin bhi inko fit kar do, kuch number to milenge. This does not work in our scenario. They need to be very clear about what goes in which part of the chapter. So I also see a question when they are asked on map about Chauri Chaura and they have written on answer sheet but not jotted on given point. Will it be considered wrong? Personally, I do consider it incorrect in the classroom scenario. At the CBSE, I know they will get marks for anything done anywhere, but that we cannot tell them as educators. We have to train them for accuracy on map work. And if you read the map question, it very categorically says, in the space provided on the map, you will identify Chauri Chaura. So everything is hinted to them. Just in that line drawn, they have to write the word Chauri Chaura. So if that much also they cannot do correctly, then I feel, in school to train them to achieve that, we need to give a 0. CBSE will consider everything. CBSE is a very, very child-friendly board. And if you go to see the curriculum and the NEP as well, students are kept at the heart or the core of learning. So if students are at the core of learning, our board is very child-friendly. But in school, we need to instill everything in them that this is how you need to do things, otherwise you will not be graded. So in school, feel free to deduct as many marks as you want. CBSE will not. Yes, only do not correct the social science paper like a language paper. That will really pull down the scores and bring disinterest in the learners. So I will reshare my screen once again, and we'll head back to the common errors that you told me, and we did discuss. And to eliminate the common errors while framing your lesson plans, while framing your assessment, while framing the learning outcomes. In fact, the CBSE has come up with the learning outcomes booklet for the elementary and secondary stages. So you know the learning objectives which are given to you in the curriculum, but the learning outcomes need to be shared with the students prior to the learning. So the students know what they are expected to do at the end of the session. So we need to follow this. Do we know what this is?
Bloom's taxonomy.
Yes, perfect, Devlina ma'am. It is the Bloom's taxonomy. And this is the latest Bloom's taxonomy that we are using, which has been transformed from using nouns to verbs, and in fact gerunds now. So all of these have the ing at the end. It's remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating in the current Bloom's taxonomy. So right from our lesson plans to our question papers, to our learning outcomes and objectives, everything has to be beating around this bush. So it's very important that we know this bush very well. And every question, every topic that we teach must beat around this. So this is the Bloom's wheel. So if you were framing a question using a Bloom's wheel and you wanted to use knowledge-based question, You would use draw, identify, or define, list, recite, name, state, etc. And what. So you have a command word with something from the Bloom's wheel. Always remember this Bloom's wheel. I request you to quickly keep a screenshot. It becomes easy. There are many Bloom's wheels available. There are, and we use this to frame our lesson plans and objectives. Useful for item writing as well. And when we are framing questions, we need to ask ourselves, what do we want to assess? Is it the student learning or what the students don't know? If you frame a paper with what students don't know, it will give you a very poor feedback of your own teaching. So what do you want to assess? You want to assess the key concepts, you want to assess the terms, you want the students to know important things, dates, you want them to learn the summary. What do you want them to learn? Based on that, and what are the learning outcomes? So have you told them you're going to test this particular learning outcome? Then you can definitely frame your question based on that. Otherwise, if you just want to randomly ask questions, it makes no sense. And some people have told me there is something called time management as a common error. It can't be time management with the current CBSE pattern. It is impossible to not finish the paper in the 2 hours given. I'll tell you why. Because in the current paper pattern, the CBSE is saying for just 40 marks, you have 2 hours, 120 minutes. Over the years, they have drilled it into our heads that 1 mark is 2 minutes. If 1 mark is 2 minutes, it has suddenly become 3 minutes. What are we going to do with that 1 extra minute per child? That is used for thinking on competency-based questions. Your questions are no longer rote learning questions. They have to be application and competency-based questions. So that 1 additional minute per question has gone into thinking time. That is why we have 120 minutes and not 80 minutes for the paper. And your paper should last that long. These are some of the verbs we use for the Bloom's critical thinking. If you use some of these verbs and you ask students to at different stages of your assessment, follow these, it will be useful. So you may keep a screenshot if you like. I have no objection to that. At any point in time, if you're bored, you can quickly put a DM to me and I'll see what I can do. So if you visit the CBSE website, there are some of the most important links over there, which I have shared with you for another screenshot. These are some of the most interesting links. They talk about competency-based education. In that also, they have added the learning frameworks with the Azim Premji University. They've added the British Council resources. They've added teacher resources, assessment resources. They've added a lot of other things in competency-based education, worksheets, weekly worksheets, which you may feel useful and download. However, let me use a word of caution. Social sciences are the least resourceful subjects at that particular page. However, the learning frameworks and to an extent teacher resources will be available. And social science teachers are meant to be brilliant. Reading about other subjects, they can work on their own subject. So pat on your back that you can modify seeing other people. And you will learn about competency-based education. So take down the links. And the third very important thing that we have is art integration into our curriculum. And I've put the live chat on. You may quickly unmute and tell me what is your understanding of art integration. Feel free to unmute. We need not have the participants only writing in the chat.
Ma'am, integrating of states, culture, tradition, food, all that. One state.
Wonderful, Violet, Mary, ma'am. So which state does your school talk about?
Uttarakhand.
Uttarakhand. And you would have in the last 2 years learned about the culture and food habits, art, everything to do with Uttarakhand. Great. What about the others?
Ma'am, fusion of British culture with Indian culture.
Fusion of British culture with Indian culture. Why not? Yes. And which other state are you dealing with? If you are in any Indian state, your art integration will be with another state. Which state are you based in, ma'am?
Maharashtra.
Maharashtra. So your art integration from grade 1 to 12 will always be with Odisha. Odisha is our partner state. CBSE ne bana di jodi. Circular 33 academics. So what about Devlina ma'am? Which state do you belong to? Devlina ma'am, am I audible to you? Okay, there's a chat message. Okay, so there is learning through art with arts, and that is from someone called OISNT. Okay. Any other person who wishes to answer about states, about something nice, about art integration? Ekta Desai ji, would you want to share some opinion?
Experience learning something like.
Okay, art integration is like
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
So overall, the subjects will be integrated. English, maths, science, Kannada, and even French also can be added. So all the subjects will be integrated in the arts.
Okay, all subjects can be integrated, or only social sciences can be integrated across the curriculum. That is also a possibility. We are not bound by Circular 33. That loophole has been kept open, that you can choose to do one subject, or you can choose to go interdisciplinary, you can go pluridisciplinary, you can go however you like to in integrating subjects. I can see Dr. Shama Khan's hand raised.
It can be cross-curricular link between the subjects.
Yes, ma'am. It can be a cross-curricular link. Nupur, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. What I have practiced in my career, that's what I would like to share with you, so that I can get an idea whether what I have been doing is right or wrong. So what I did with social studies always, since it's a taboo, like it's people hate social studies, such studying history and geography and all that. So what I have always done is like integrating social science with arts. Arts means basic art with the pen and paper, with drama, with music, and also with different kind of skits and plays. So that created an interest in my children when I was teaching history. Suppose even for Industrial Revolution, we can enact a short skit where the children can do that in the Industrial Revolution. It might sound absurd how I did it in class, but it's very true, like and very easy also to do it. If you have the creativity, you can actually do it. Even like geography, children finds it difficult to remember where the states are and where the water bodies are in India. So for that, I made incorporated it with dance. Dance forms, not classical. I'm not a dancer. I don't know dance that proper. But what I did was very basic small steps, like when we do our hand, raise our hand on up on our head, we are showing the mountain, and that's the north. So when we tap our feet like this, so we show that this is the south of India, and below that is the Indian Ocean. If my hand, so this way, a different kind of, if my hand is like this, the North Indian seven sister states come. And same way Gujarat, and then the water bodies, I explained it like that. So I've always, when I was a teacher, when I was teaching in schools, I've always incorporated this kind of things in history and geography. And my class was super success, and children were very excited that before even ma'am opens the book, what can we expect? Dance, theater, music. And we used to use very simple props, nothing very expensive or nothing that we can bring it from the shop and buy it and use it. So all these things I kept on doing, and really I found it, because I never I find people always that I don't like history. So I wanted to remove that thing from my children, the groups I am teaching, the batches year after year I am teaching, that I was teaching that these children should have a love for history and geography, that these are real subjects, and these are not just stories we read in English and maths things. These are real life things, his story, man's story. So that way I always integrated this integration. I did it this way, ma'am. And even
thank you so much, Nupur ma'am. Sorry for that interruption, but yes, you've been using wonderful strategies in your classroom.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, and I see the chat also moving at a steady pace. However, in the chat, there was something about instructional objectives and Bloom's taxonomy that I was not very clear about. So somebody who's written that could please kindly specify, maybe in the chat only, what you expect over there. And if time permits, we may discuss. So when we talk about art integration, I hope you can see my screen again. I have screen shared it. So when we talk about art, it is a creative expression of an individual. And if you leave the children to creatively express it, in 2 hour subjects of history, geography, political science, and economics, you will see a wide range of things coming up. Now, the art education period that we see in our classrooms are different from integration of art. And therefore, the particular subject of using maybe local arts and probably how we can integrate those into our curriculum is a nice topic to deal with. So if I am now currently based in Maharashtra, So how can I pick up the local arts of Maharashtra? My local art in Maharashtra would probably be Wadli art in art forms. And it could also be, at the same time, it could also mean any particular performing art like Lavani or some other dance form. It could mean photography, role play. So, and any other form that can be used, it can be integrated into the teaching of our social science curriculum per se, not necessarily integrated with another state in the initial stages. So art integrated learning is a pedagogy where art becomes the basis of the teaching learning process. It makes your curriculum holistic, joyful, and experiential. And the different forms of art that we talk about are painting, photography, clay modeling, sculpture, applied art, craft, etc., which goes in the visual art category. And the performing arts include dance, vocal and instrumental music, miming, puppetry, storytelling. So there are so many kinds of art forms that we can use in our curriculum. When you talk of the left brain functions of the human being, we normally see the left brain functioning in the analytical, thoughtful, logical thinking and reasoning manner. But when the right brain functions, the child is creative, imaginative, and art aware. That's a new terminology coming in. And when we talk about importance of art integration, we talk about deeper understanding of the material to the students. We give the students a chance to be creative in their work. Abstract concepts within subjects can be concretized and used in different art forms. Arts can clarify the concepts with ease and increase the knowledge and understanding of the subject. So why is then art integration necessary in the curriculum? As I told you earlier, it makes learning joyful, holistic, and experiential. The child is able to apply art-based inquiry, investigation, and exploration to daily concepts. Critical thinking and creativity deepen. Communication skills increase. They learn to appreciate each other. Today, like ma'am said, they interact with Uttarakhand in the last 2 years being their partner state. So they've learned about the entire Uttarakhand as a state in art, culture, and every other form. So they learn to appreciate a different state. From Maharashtra, my students do Odisha each year. So they've learned to appreciate different aspects of Odisha. Like I, in grade 10, particularly give them to do about travelogues and lifelines of the national economy or minerals and energy resources. Sometimes I give them manufacturing industries, I give them agriculture, soil, climate, etc. And they are able to do it very beautifully. They build self-esteem, and when the self-esteem is high, the level of confidence in the students is amazingly high. And they are able to use interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary links between subjects, between topics. They actually see the real life scenario. They are able to associate, and that association is very, very important, in particular when we are dealing with our subject. That tells the students that learning is now meaningful, and once it becomes meaningful, there will automatically be joy in the heart. So art integration builds 21st century skills, which are the most important 21st century skills of creativity and innovation, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. And these days we do also promote sports integrated learning and storytelling as a pedagogy, which are important tools in building competencies within the children. So children must be taught how to think and not what to think. So if you just take recall-based questions, knowledge-based questions, rote learning-based questions, you're only asking them what to think. The minute you leave them to explore, you will see the change. So while I stop sharing here, I leave you to do one quick exercise within a minute. And the exercise says, keep your videos on and you will quickly show me, draw a house. Come on, draw a house on paper. Okay, so I saw Miss Meena's house. Thank you, Miss Meena. All the others are also expected to show me their houses. Shruti ma'am, I cannot see it, but Sakshi ma'am's I did. Sagarika ma'am, I did. Shruti ma'am, your video is unclear. Shiva ma'am, it's unclear. Devlina ma'am, thank you, I've seen it. Millie ma'am, it's not clear. Meetu ma'am, I've seen it. Elizabeth ma'am, it's your virtual backdrop is coming in the way. All right, Nazima ma'am, yes. Millie ma'am, yes. Elizabeth ma'am, yes. Jennifer ma'am, yes. Neha ma'am, yes. Shivani ma'am, perfect. It's so nice. Now all of you put up the house together. All of you put up the house together. Could you spot the difference? There's no difference. All the houses, all the 40 plus, close to 40 houses, all look similar to each other. Put them down, thank you. All the houses look similar to each other. Everyone's put a triangle on top, a square below, one winding path down, more or less square or rectangular entrance, 1 or 2 square windows. Some people have gone beyond and extended it there and made another square below. Some have drawn grass and trees here and there, but invariably all the houses have followed the same pattern. Did I tell you to draw a house using squares, triangles? Where did the problem lie? When we were children, we were taught, we were made to learn what to think, not how to think. There is our problem. We were told a house is drawn like this. The teacher drew it on the board. We copied it. That is why 1.3 crore people in India will draw a house like this. If you don't trust me, go back to your staff rooms on Monday morning and ask your entire staff room to do this exercise. Every teacher in your staff will do this unless they've attended any such session where they've seen the difference of what a different house will look like. This gives us enough food for thought where we say that it's time to change. It's time to change the mindset. Why should we tell them draw a house like this? That reminds me, geography teachers, we always teach a very boring soil profile diagram. There's one in the textbook, utterly boring. I hate it. Do you teach the same diagram? Yes, 99% teachers tell the children textbook has the diagram, it is on whatever XYZ page, copy it. and the child will spend hours drawing something that is so difficult to draw and color and label, and it will not look like soil. Now, if a child gave you any other form, maybe a SpongeBob or some Mickey Mouse or some any other cartoon character that a child likes, has colored and labeled all the parts according to the soil profile diagram, will you accept it? Thank you for saying yes. People are saying even a balloon will be accepted. Why a cartoon character? Thank you for that. It really matters if you can change the mindset. It is currently trying to say change the mindset. Why will you not accept? It is the thought of the child that coming out of a boredom, the child has come into something which is more engaging, more creative. What are we looking at as teachers? The parts of the soil profile, which are neatly drawn and labeled. Now, the box of that soil profile could be in any shape. Have you personally dug the soil to find out how many layers deep the soil is and what shape does it look like? All of us have, through some textbook, through some teacher, understood that soil has a rock and a humus and topsoil and other things. Have we ever dug the soil and found out through experiential learning? Have any of you tried it? No. So either we have two options, either we let the children dig and find out, or we accept it so long as it is labeled and drawn correctly. If we do not change our mindset, nothing will change. Even 100 years down the line, students will draw the same house and you will wonder, where is our India heading to? Yes, field trips are helpful. Absolutely. People are saying, I see the chat here on the screen. Beautiful. I absolutely agree. There is Subhra Jita here who is writing lovely things in the chat. If that changes the mindset, kudos to you. So, Elizabeth ma'am, if you could also explain to me what you in the chat, or of course, what you have written previously, I would really appreciate.
Ma'am, that question was for the first time when you put the wheel, no? That was for that. When you asked about Bloom's taxonomy, and I had sent it to Meetu ma'am. So then only it was when it was directed to you, I sent it. Okay, it was late.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So there was also these lovely things that I thought, just these concepts that come up with interactions with you that I remember. And I feel we should always share these things because they are nice. So let me reshare my screen to where I had stopped. And as we say, learning requires senses. Art is the best activity to stimulate the senses, and we have lots of art and craft in our curriculum. It's not that we don't. Culinary skill is also an art. And if you are asking your students to use their culinary skills through role play, debate, etc., it can be possible. Now look at this child. Such a cute little baby says, what the heck happened? I was minding my own business. Somebody snatched me up, dipped my feet in yellow paint and pressed them on a blue piece of paper, plopped me down and painted a duck. The child doesn't know what happened, but something happened and a duck has been created. There's another example I had here, hand painting. What you see here on the left-hand painting is just the red and white paint. But when you see it going back onto paper or another hand, a Santa is created. Why can't we use these concepts? So art for creating and not competing. We want to see art as a creation. We want the students to integrate it, to learn, to make their learning joyful. We see it into obedience slots, that require no mess, houses made like this. We see children who've never had to solve a problem of a sculpture that doesn't balance. We teach the Indus Valley. We show them, that, or even Mesopotamia, and we show them the different sculptures. In Indus Valley in particular, all of us teach the dancing girl and the bronze dancing girl, or that statue of the busted man, and Mother Goddess. Have we ever tried telling them to create it? The terracotta seals or the cart. Have we tried telling the children, create one and show? And we see children who've never felt success from using a tool to help them manipulate material. So have we ever given them clay and said, come on, make what you can from the Indus Valley civilization? You've learned about the civilization. This is your clay. These are your beads. Or if you have an artifact at home, bring it and let's talk about it. We as teachers may have said, let's go to the museum, let's see all the artifacts in the museum and the gallery. We may even take them to a virtual museum if we know that, okay, there is a museum in the entire globe which is currently displaying Indus Valley artifacts. We'll show it to them. But have we given them the chance of exploration? In grade 10, I believe, in economics, in one of the chapters, I think first chapter only, they talk about dal mill and bee collection and all. And most of our students are urban. Do they even know what all of those centers are? Have we taken them to see these centers? In geography, we talk about crops and soils and all. Have we given the children a chance, even a small patch of land, and said, okay, in a class of 40, make groups of 10 and cultivate this land? The size of the land need not be more than 2 by 2 feet. That's enough. And a class of 40 will plow it, sow it, cultivate it, and you see the difference there. It's a vast difference. Now look at these travelogues. The planets, the universe, the forests, the oceans, everything of these can be taught through art integration. Students can be asked to create them. A day on the rainforest tour, come to Earth, what makes Earth so important? A day in the solar system, what did they see in the solar system? So it will not only make classroom transaction joyful and creative, it will also promote the appreciation of our rich art, culture, and heritage. So even if you were teaching the middle school and you were teaching Ashoka or the Mughal history, you would be able to do a role play on each of these characters. And students love doing it. And a model of art integrated pedagogy would be use an ice-breaking activity for classroom transaction. Try and make it transdisciplinary for internal assessment. Select a topic or a theme, drawing upon the previous knowledge of the students. Provide creative inquiry opportunities for hands-on learning to students. Reflect on new learning of the subject using art forms. And then take an assessment of students for subject as well as for the art form involved. It's only when you follow this kind of an art integrated pedagogy will the students actually integrate art. Otherwise, it's quite possible that it's your social science project. They will only show you the social sciences from there and not the art. when giving a project on social sciences, including art integration, always take help of the art integrated teachers. Inform them. So they will also be in through their classes or taking one of your classes, talk about that particular concept. And these are all the list of activities you may probably want to do in your classrooms using different topics for art integration. All of these have been given in the art integration manual, which is on the CBSE website. So if you wish to, you may keep a screenshot handy, a role play, video making, filmmaking, photography, slideshow, PPT, designing. It could even now go to design thinking, visit to historical places and monuments, writing documentaries, sketching, sculpture and clay modeling, dance performances, creating a reservoir using best of waste, jewelry making, paper quilling, papier-mâché, beads, grains, art exhibition. Art exhibition, mind you, will always be a culmination of the work. Okay, now just give me a moment to read through the chat. A lot of long conversation has come. Okay, lovely. In entrepreneurship, you can always, even nowadays, use the Innovation Ambassador Training Program tips. And they would be really useful. You can start with design thinking. Okay. Consumer rights can also be done with storyboard. Okay, so I can see that the chat box is flooding in with a lot more messages, meaningful messages. Thank you to the lovely participants here who are writing in the chat. These are some of the activities my students have created. So I have already practiced what I am preaching even before the CBSE came up with art integration. These are not pictures clicked today. If you see here, these are the bead making. They've used the beads and created some jewelry. In this particular picture, the garden, it's waste material ice cream sticks, pebbles they found at the beach. The flowers are from punching the paper into different shapes. Water is just by a cutout. And the grass, I think they use some other material to create it. I have forgotten what they used. In this rainbow picture, the sun has been created using a pineapple piece. Then you have red and yellow bell peppers, red, yellow, green bell peppers, black grapes, and coriander. Then this is lady finger. And they tried to create the Qutub Minar, which ultimately turned into the Leaning Tower of Pizza. They couldn't make it stand, but you can see the happiness on the boys' faces. They've actually achieved in making it stand, and it's standing in between the cheese and tomato. That's the main reason why the lady finger kept slipping. So they've tried to do every possible thing to hold it together. Even toothpicks and the top of the lady finger that they've cut, they've used on the toothpicks to make it look like a border or a fence. Then the Taj Mahal that you see here is made of boiled potato. Just boiled potato. This is bottle gourd and boiled potato. This is actually beads, and the child was very good at art. So she has actually brought some tablet, on which she would paint, and then those stones and all on which she would paint, and she's kept those on the side. And these are the lady finger pieces around. This is clay, entirely clay. And the gender equality poster we find in our textbook, somebody has just reproduced it. So this is something that is practiced before it was preached. And you can see these are 2012. Many of the pictures are from 2012. So long before it was integrated into our current curriculum, it has been practiced. Role plays, posters. These are things that most schools do. People generally do not forget these things. So we were celebrating Peace Day, and you can see the murals on peace. And the first one, I think, is the Traffic Week celebration, and then the peace murals. These are notebook cover pages in grade 9. Before I start the academic session, I normally tell them, go through the textbook, and whatever comes to your mind when you flip the pages of the textbook, whatever you think will be a part of your curriculum for the year will be your cover page for the textbook. So this is how students interpret it. Then if you are teaching drainage in geography, of course, now they've cut down most parts of the chapter, but if you are teaching it, drainage patterns, the dendritic pattern, the trellis pattern can be taught this way through diagram. The concept is clear: a main river with the tributaries flowing in the form of dendrite. And the trellis, the main river with tributaries at right angles. Concept is absolutely clear. So there is a video link. I will let you watch it only if time permits later. Otherwise, I will move ahead. You can take a screenshot of the video link though. So there is a checklist for teachers. While planning and executing an activity or a project, teachers must ensure activity promotes experiential learning. Students get the opportunity for hands-on experience. So the main purpose is to make learning joyful when you're giving these activities. So if you don't see the joy, don't give the activity. First feel the joy before you give it to them. And it should be done collaboratively. Don't ask the students to do it individually. Students are engaged in constructing and demonstrating their understanding and not merely memorizing. They should create something new. Art form should connect to other disciplines. Connection is mutually reinforcing, not deliberate. Activity or the project should simplify the concepts being taken up. Material required for the activity or the project should be easily available. There should be no excess financial burden on the student. So a fruit or a vegetable they will find in the house, they will not need to go somewhere and bring. If you tell them to use some fancy paper or some fancy material, they would need to buy and then not reuse later, which is a financial burden. Students are familiar with art forms being used in the activity or the project. This will always happen if you involve the art teachers concerned. Most schools have the art teacher, the music teacher, the dance teacher, the drama teacher. So if you have all these people involved in your project, students will definitely show you the art. Students should have time to think about the content apart from the prescribed book. So when you go to class each morning and if you say, good morning students, today you will open to history textbook page 40 and we will learn about nationalism in Europe, forget it. Even I will not learn. The students will definitely switch off from here. The minute you tell them a story about nationalism in Europe, you show them a movie, you talk to them, give them a storyboard, Make different teaching strategies which involve the students, and use the textbook as a backup, which they can read at home, or a flipped learning tool, which they may probably read and come and you ask questions. It can be used for doubt clearing. And make relevant assessment techniques which are age appropriate. Don't stick to the textbook. Textbook is very boring if you have to read through it in every period. So the art integrated manual of talks about social sciences in this manner. They give you lesson plans also in social sciences. In grade 9, I had these students who were trying out village of Palampur. So on the first page of the chapter, if you're an eco teacher, you will realize there is a boring description of a village. In my school, being in South Mumbai, students have never really been to a village. They don't really know or understand the concept between urban and rural divide. So I just told them to draw this village based on the description given in the book. And you see one village coming up here. Based on the description, there is not much of thought involved. Reading the description, the child has come up with a village. At the same time, there is a story in one of those chapters of Sakal and Vilas where human resource is being tapped. So there are these two case studies in boxes, and the child has brought about the distinction between the two case studies. By interpreting those two stories, instead of a mind map or a concept map, the student has drawn it through diagram. A diagrammatic representation, which makes it easy for the child to learn and understand and distinguish between the two stories. So tomorrow when the child learns for the exam, he or she will only have to look at this page and know both the case studies well. That's such a big time saver. No need to by heart, rote learn. Wow. If you were doing climate in grade 9, that's a very tricky chapter. What the CBSE has done is they have removed the internal concepts and they've given you those big, broad terms to teach. Now you cannot teach climate as a chapter until you've not taught this to the students. It'll all go bouncer. And you will end up batting and bowling in your class. And you will be ending up playing cross and zero on the answer scripts. So you need to teach these concepts. Let the children understand how the chapter develops and progresses as a climate chapter. What is the point of doing these graphs? What are these seasons? Why are they important? Why do we need to study about the vertical rays of the sun? You may keep this YouTube link as a screenshot for you later. So we have some smart tips for better learning of concepts. What is the difference between a concept map and a mind map? Come on, let me see the chat flow again. What is the difference between a concept map and a mind map? If you prefer to unmute directly, feel free to do that. If you prefer to write in the box, feel free to do that. From my side, both options are entirely open.
Ma'am, can you please once show the video slide link, please?
Yes, just a moment. I will have to reshare my screen.
Thank you.
And go behind. Are you able to see it?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am, I'm done. Thank you.
Welcome. So the chat, I believe, has started moving. I can see participants having written in the chat. A concept map is a network of interconnected concepts, whereas a mind map is a tree chart for organizing information. Concept map relationships between concepts and ideas. Mind map has a radial, the chat has moved, let me just check, okay. Mind map has a radial structure, with a concept map has a tree structure with many branches and clusters. Mind map has a radical structure. Concept map has a tree structure with many branches. Concept map is for to go for the process or for textual. Mind map is for child or OV and thinking and his creativity. Mind map highlights main points and they are told through a map structure. Mind map focuses on one concept, while concept map focuses on multiple concepts or ideas. Okay, Devlina ma'am has written that, and mind map focuses on one concept. Okay, so though there is a lot of repetition in the chat, people are, I believe, quite informed on the fact of mind map and concept map. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not yet going to answer this question. I'm going to show you one image and you are going to quickly in the chat type if it's a mind map or a concept map. So you will just type an M or a C. So is this a mind map or a concept map? M or a C? The image is in front of you. You just have to type M or C. Oh, I think the screen didn't share. Okay, I've resumed sharing. I've resumed sharing. You have to tell me whether it's an M or a C.
Let's see, ma'am.
So I see a lot of people saying C. Somebody is saying M as well. A lot of people are also writing M. Okay, and as I mentioned to you, I will not answer it until I am also clear about what is this, M or C. This is the second image. Is it M or C?
It's M.
Okay, and like many of you are correct. If you are correct, then this is the M. This is a mind map. A mind map, as many of you in the definition too had mentioned, is a radial pattern. The concept is in the center. It branches out in different directions. And this is normally done at the beginning of a session, at the beginning of a unit, at the beginning of a concept where you want to know what the child knows or what the child is keen about learning. So instead of a KWL, you may choose to do a mind map. Whereas this picture was a concept map. It is always in a top-down order. This is normally given by the teacher for revision or after the concept has been taught. It covers the entire unit. All the parts are mentioned right up to the exemplar. This makes learning easy for a student. So I'm going to show you the distinction. You can keep a screenshot of this distinction, where the mind map is very suitable for note taking and reviewing, but concept map is always going to be showing you systematic relationships. It is suitable for classroom teaching, self-study, revision. And the key concepts are always written in boxes or bubbles in a concept map. Now, when you are teaching history, you need to focus on some of these strategies like group work, cooperative learning, technology and research. Sometimes you even need to use first-person narratives, photographs, newspaper articles, speeches, artwork, documents as a part of a lesson, sometimes even literature, debate, drama, role play, simulation, graphic organizers, charts, diagrams, maps, all of this, plus you may decide to even use a movie, you may decide to use games, anything that comes to your mind, a newspaper, a storyboard, a timeline template, a think, pair, share activity, but you must relate it with the present time. As I told you, unless and until social science is not meaningful and not joyful for the learner, they will have no use for it. You will find very few students who are going to take up a career in your subject. And the reason for not choosing social sciences in the career options is because we do not create interest in the subject. We, as the social science fraternity, do not simulate their interest. We don't show them why the subject is important. And therefore, they dislike it. They find it boring. Because we have not generated that interest in them. Why will they otherwise do mathematics and science in your class and not do your subject? So if you were talking about different methods of engaging your classroom, you have storytelling. You may start or end with a story. You may give descriptive methods. You may use the Purana chalk and talk explanation method. The exposition, who, what, when, where, how, why. Or the brainstorming, where you ask them to give their views quickly as post-its or small chits. You let them give you their views and you compile and you help them organize. If you were doing the storyboard, then it's very useful. It's very, very useful for students who have difficulty in writing and reading, but they can always express themselves through a story. You can also have students who are good at art put up a story. You can give them, boxes in the classroom and ask them to create a story in a group by filling in the boxes. So this story that you see on your screen currently is of the French Revolution. And it's about Louis XVI coming to throne, coming to power. Treasury is empty after the war. The Jacobin Club was formed. The history of the Jacobin Club and the sans-culotte, and what about the men, women coming in of the convention, the killing of Louis XVI, followed by Queen Marie Antoinette. All of this has been explained through stories here, through the storyboard. And then the person also talks about Robespierre and the reign of Robespierre, the reign of terror, what was in the reign of terror, what is the guillotine all about, what were the terms and conditions in the reign of terror, equality bred or pain d'égalité, and the citoyen and the monsieur and whatever. And then to the extent that supporters of Robespierre were fed up of the reign of terror, and Robespierre was also guillotined. And the Jacobin Club fails. And you see how there is a conversation flowing on the storyboard. Even if this session would have put you to sleep, seeing the conversation flowing on the storyboard would have woken you up. Next strategy, every teacher must carry a newspaper. Now these days, sometimes it becomes difficult to carry a newspaper, but what is the digital newspaper meant for? Take it to the class, read out interesting facts, ask questions. Inquiry-based learning is a very useful method in today's day and date. if you want this kind of a classroom, you have to create inquiry, you have to create curiosity, and in turn, let the students also ask you the questions. It is only when they ask will they learn. Now, before I come to this topic, yes, it's so nice to know that teachers at this institution are actually trying out some of these strategies. So how to engage the learners, and I have a few links where I want you to reach out to. I want you to reach out to some links. So I'm going to pause my screen here and I'm going to take you through the chat box into one of the links. This one. I need to make the chat open to everyone. And I wish you to visit this link. I've been reading, that a lot of social science teachers find it difficult to teach math work. In fact, I was talking to Jayashree ma'am the other day and she said math work is a big question. So have you reached the map work? Have you started doing it? It says click and drop the pins, drag and drop the pins onto map work. When we were children, little children, we played electro, we played Ludo. We would do something, some electronic game. You have to pick and drop and there would be a light. This is something similar, modern day. It gives you a timer on your screen. It gives you your correct answers. If you don't know, don't worry, just submit. Nobody is going to laugh. You can try out some common places, otherwise just submit. Fortunately, this does not go to the ORCID management, it stays with me. It's open, entirely open. Aruna ma'am, people are doing it. Yes, this does not go to the ORCID management, so you need not worry. I get to see the best results. So when I say, if you didn't know what the places went to, just do it in any case. I'll show you what you can do. So calling off of the non-cooperation movement at Chauri Chaura. Now I would place Chauri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh because my thing says Uttar Pradesh. I've given the hint also. All I had to do was drag and drop the pin in Uttar Pradesh. But for a student, Chauri Chaura may not be here. As a student, I may mark it here. Peasant Satyagraha in Kheda, Gujarat. I don't even know where Gujarat is, but I would just take it there. Calcutta session of the Congress would be somewhere in Calcutta, obviously. Champaran, because now my Chauri Chaura is incorrect, Champaran will go here. Nagpur will go here. Ahmedabad, I'll take to the other pin. And now I'm tired. It's so boring to do this. So I'm going to say submit my answers. You got this? It tells me my score is 3 out of 9 in 53.9 seconds. And the leaderboard is there for me to see. I'm on the leaderboard, enter my name. So my name is KD. I'll enter it. It's telling me how many people have got what score in how many seconds. Right? I go back. It tells me, show me the correct answers. So now all the answers that are correct are here. I can even go back and view my own answers and see, okay, if that was my answer was incorrect, what is correct? The marking is made by the teacher because the teacher has made holes for the pins to go and fall. So multiple times that a child attempts this, he or she will definitely see the correct answer. Best thing is the score. Sometimes if you want to use it as a diagnostic or a portfolio or some activity, you know, MI, you can give this kind of a map and you can create one for yourself, of course, and give it. And you will get the students to give you a score that is automatically graded by their work. And students love doing it because they get to see themselves on the leaderboard. If, for example, now somebody called Shalini has done it in 34 seconds, but suppose somebody would do it in just 10 seconds, then Shalini's leaderboard position will move down. So the next person who's done it in lesser seconds will come up. And if the teacher has asked for screenshots, the teacher will know who did it before whom as well. The leaderboard keeps changing. So that is one thing I wanted to share with you. Another link I have with me right now is the Nationalism in Europe link, which is a game show. And I'll quickly share it in the chat with you. To everyone in the meeting. So I wouldn't expect everyone to do the entire thing. But just as I showed you the previous one, I'll show you this one too. Just enter anything. Don't hesitate. So I believe people are doing it. This also gives you a leaderboard. This also gives you bonus round option and extra questions, plus score, minus score, and students love it. It goes like a KBC. It's good to test MCQs. If you look at the right-hand side of my screen, it shows you game show, quiz, open the box, maze, airplane, and whatever other things, crossword. If you even saw my previous screen, there are crosswords here. And Word Wall has this best feature. You can go and experiment for yourself. There is a lot of free activity available. You can create your own activity after you've logged in. You can see your own activities and you can decide which activity you want to do. So it's a free resource to be used freely by all. Another very important resource I would like to share is sending you to my quizzes link. So that again, I will share in the chat. It's a sweet thing to do. I'm sure many of you follow quizzes. Okay, I am starting the classic mode. You can directly go to that link I shared, or you may choose to go to joinmyquiz.com. And the game code is 113310. Joinmyquiz.com. And the game code is 113310. That number keeps changing, the game code keeps changing each time you try. Joinmyquiz.com 113310. Okay, I see people having started join. Lakshmi ma'am has joined. Shruti ma'am has joined. Come on, be brave. This is a social science quiz and of a lower level. Devlina ma'am, Sagarika ma'am, Jennifer ma'am. Okay, and I'm going to let you continue joining, Meena ma'am. The quiz will start. I leave you to work on the quiz. Here. Keka Biswas is leading. Shweta ma'am is following next with 8:30. Shruti ma'am is next. That's on the leaderboard. If I don't want to see the leaderboard, but if I want to see what you can see, I can also see it this way. I can see 19 players are there. I can see you going in different directions. Shweta ma'am is now leading at 2420 points, followed by Shruti ma'am at 1510. Lakshmi ma'am has taken over the second place at 1530. Jennifer has come to the second place. And you can all see the leaderboard. I'm going to share the leaderboard with you to enjoy yourselves. So Shruti ma'am has come to the top with 3010 points, with Shweta ma'am following not far behind, and Shweta ma'am has taken the lead. So are you done with the 5 questions? Very 5 simple questions were given. And you can see people joining with different names. And Shweta ma'am as of now stands first, Shruti ma'am second, and the leaderboard now shows Nazima ma'am third. Somebody who's put in the game code has come first, with Shweta ma'am's position being pushed down to second. And Shruti ma'am stands third. So, now Nazima ma'am stands first with 5 questions, and somebody else has overtaken her. Pallavi ma'am stands third with with the 5 questions attempted. You can even see Sagarika ma'am is on the 4th question. Shruti ma'am has not done a single question. Shweta ma'am did 1. Sagarika is on the 4th. Jennifer 1. Okay, something number 1. But it shows me the entire screen, and it's so nice to see that 3 people have attempted all 5 questions, have got their scores, and you can see how quickly the leaderboard changed. The only catch here is you have to frame the questions in such a way that there is a catch for the students.
I'm sorry, I couldn't follow. Like, I thought I had to like put the number in the name format. So I put the number 133110. So yeah, that was me.
Never mind, ma'am. But so long as you put something and you played the game, it's okay with us. This was just a trial for all of you to understand that there is something called quizzes.com. You can create your own quiz in your own chapters, and you can also involve and engage your 21st century learners. If you teach them today like what you've learned in the yesteryears, they will be bored in your classroom. So we have to take that step, progress, move forward, and take them to the way they need to learn. And John Dewey has shown us this way forward. So let me now take you to a YouTube link. It's when you start teaching geography, this is something that many of us do. We start teaching with a particular song. So the geography concepts become very clear. And this YouTube link is a karaoke. I'd like you to listen to the karaoke beginning, and obviously time will not permit me to take you through the entire karaoke. It's quite a 4-5 minute long karaoke, but you play it for the students. You play it for the students, and then you let them do the male female parts and the chorus, and you will see the change of how the concepts of latitude and longitude are clear in their mind. So just let me share the screen, and you'll really love doing it. You may also keep yourselves on mute and try singing along.
Do you know what longitude, latitude, longitude? Do you know what longitude, latitude mean? Longitude, latitude, longitude, latitude. Yes, I know what longitude, latitude mean. Latitude is the angular distance measured in degrees. It tells how far from the equator any place happens to be. North or south from the equator, wherever a place may be. Latitude gives the angular distance scientifically. Do you know what longitude, latitude, longitude? Do you know what longitude, latitude mean? Longitude, latitude, longitude, latitude.
And the song keeps continuing, but I'll take you to the karaoke.
Distance scientifically. Do you know what longitude, latitude, longitude? Do you know what longitude, latitude mean? Longitude, latitude, longitude, latitude. Yes, I know what longitude, latitude mean. Longitude is the angular distance measured in degrees. It tells how far from Greenwich, England, any place happens to be. East or west from Greenwich, England, wherever a place may be. Longitude gives the angular distance scientifically.
So this kind of a song we use in our school, grade 6 to grade 10, wherever we teach map work. Once in a year, we do begin with the song. The first time we teach map work every year. And then students have got the clarity of longitude and latitude in them. That gives us the motivation that, okay, the concept is clear. The places will not go too far away from where they are meant to be. And then we also, in the pandemic, God has given us a lot of time to explore, and you tried out doing map work online. I showed you how you can create it. There are many other ways in which you can do. You can explore some on your own. If you come up with something creative, do share it with me too. Maybe I'll experiment. And we'll see what works best for our students. So let me just quickly share my screen once again. And there is no more video for you right now. So this is the video I currently showed you, the dance, just dance, because it's the longitude latitude song. Mnemonics is another very important way in which we learn and we teach. When we were kiddos, our teachers taught us, my very educated mother just served us noodles, or just served us 9 planets, or something, just showed us 9 planets. And we went to Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. We went that way. Now with Pluto gone, just served us noodles. But the mother remains very educated. Similarly, if you were doing rivers, for each of the rivers in the drainage chapter, you could have your own mnemonics. So if you were doing Indus, then I think, for the tributaries of the Indus, which are the tributaries of the Indus, by the way? Do you remember them?
Satluj,
Ravi.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Satluj, Jhelum, Chenab,
Jhelum and
Ravi.
Satluj.
I'll tell you. I've created one like this. I'll tell you. In January, Cristiano Ronaldo slapped Bipasha, followed by these. Simple. Indus, Jhelum, Chenab. In January, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ravi, slapped Satluj, Bipasha, Pyas. Right? In January, Cristiano Ronaldo slapped Bipasha. Simple. And more or less they are in the Kashmir region, almost in the same order. I think Bias has moved a little, but yes, when you give it to them that way, children learn it and remember it for a longer time. If you ask them to modify it, like noodles coming here, they will give you something else. And later on, when you go to the extended tributaries of the Indus, which are all about those in Zaskar and other ranges, you can ask them to extend the Zaskar, Nubra, Shyok, all those tributaries. You can ask them to extend to your mnemonic and they will merrily give you a very good insight. So I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking at the chat, which is also flowing. And I see that teachers are also, as teachers, finding it difficult to remember from memory which is the tributary that goes next. So in January, Cristiano Ronaldo slapped Bipasha. Brings a smile to my face. Yes, because something that we didn't think of is happening. And the tributaries are all in order, easy to remember. And probably the last slide before I head to taking questions, if any from you. I'd like to thank Jayashree ma'am for inviting me and the entire management of POCITS for inviting me to this platform to giving me this wonderful chance of interacting with each and every one of you in the social science fraternity, expanding my interaction with the social science fraternity at the OCID group. At the same time, I must also thank the management of GOPI BIRLA Memorial School for relieving me for this session and giving me the opportunity to interact with you. So thank you, dear participants. I leave the floor open to questions while I share an assessment link with you of today's session. So you can, in the meantime, fill the assessment link in the chat. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them. I'm right here for you.
Teachers, all of you will be getting 2 links in the chat box. One is the feedback link and the second is the assessment link from Khyati ma'am.
My link is common, ma'am.
Yes.
Link also has a feedback.
Yes,
which
I have also shooted out a message.
Yes. I have also shared this to I need to share it with the CBSE, so I need to give them.
Yes, ma'am. Is everybody able to see both the links? Thumbs up on the screen, please.
Thank you, Aruna, ma'am.
The platform is open for all for questions.
I could see only one, the feedback form.
Okay. I'll repost it again. Ma'am, can you please share the assessment link?
I have shared it, but yeah, I think the chat box needs to change. I will, I will reshare my link.
Yes, ma'am, please.
To everyone. I guess you can see it now.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Teachers, please stay back for the question and answer sessions. If anybody has any queries, you're free to shoot out your questions now. Raise your hands, ma'am will call out your name, as you can post the questions in the chat box. Would prefer you all to raise your hands on screen. It's easy to call out.
Yes, I have put the gallery view on, so in case if someone wants to ask, please feel free, don't hesitate. I don't like participants who are quiet. This is the best chance when you can ask anything, your heart out, nobody will say anything.
I guess everybody is busy with their feedback and filling up their assessment.
So maybe somebody who's not filling the assessment can definitely share one takeaway from today's classroom. Or Jayashree ma'am, if you wish to ask any questions that you may have received during or before the session. Is Jayashree ma'am in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Maybe you may want to share some questions that may have remained unanswered. In case if something remained unanswered, please feel free to ask.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Sadia ma'am.
Ma'am, I really loved this session. It was really eye-opening for me, where I could learn many things. Many of the things I knew about it, like role play and things like that. But I would like if we are more trained in this, like how to do this different methodologies, like how you just spoke about the teaching aids and all. For example, if we are speaking about soil, so can we ask the students to get plants, and then they could only make plants, like grow, only soil can be brought, and how seeds are sown and things. Can we do this in our
Yes.
learning process for soil geography?
I personally do that in agriculture in grade 10 because soils I would have taught in the first chapter, but I discourage them from keeping soil packets in their notebooks and portfolios. Ultimately, it leads to some kind of insects with soil packets in the notebook and grains in the notebook. So I discourage that activity, but in the process in agriculture, I let them grow crops. I give them a list of crops from which they can choose and grow any one. Normally, I give them crops that they can plant in their balcony or window or terrace or wherever, or in the society. Since Mumbai does not have big homes, they can do it. But the entire process, they have to record through photography and send it to me, so that at the end, when they are holding the final product in their hand, I know it's theirs if I have seen the entire process happen.
And I would really love if more sessions of such workshops are there. I really enjoyed it and learned a lot from this.
Any time, normally for social sciences, so we conduct 2-day modules, so which are like 5-hour modules where we cover everything in social science. All you need to know about social science. So that's a huge module. In fact, today was just a little aspect from here and there from those 2-day modules, like a glimpse of what the modules would look like if you did them in toto. I hope you're not cheating in the assessment. I can see so many people looking up and down. It's a proctored test. You're on gallery view. There are no prizes for winning.
It is like asking the students, you know, ma'am, how we go, how we should tell them. It is for your learning.
Yeah, but there are no prizes here. The points are only as a feedback to them and me both about how much of the listening has actually happened, how much of the participation has happened. Though most of the questions I'm sure are direct, they do at some point ask you to think. And I've constantly shared lots of links with y'all. You can definitely go back to those videos and view them at peace and leisure.
Ma'am, I've done both.
You've done. Thank you so much, ma'am. So in case if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Teachers, I would appreciate after finishing if you stay back for 2 more minutes. If there are no more questions, we will move towards the end. But let's wait for everyone to finish the questions, because after you give the assessment, maybe a doubt arises. So let's wait back another 2 to 5 minutes more.
Only 12 people have done the assessment. How sad.
Is everybody able to open the assessment? Anybody who is still not been able to open the assessment, please be very clear. We'll help you out.
It's just a Google form. It opens on its own. Just click on the link. Keta Biswas, Viral Kumar, Shruti, Lakshmi, Shri Reddy, Kita Yadav, Shweta ma'am. Then there is Shrestha Ghosh, Jennifer, Rita Dasari, Shivani, Nazima, Avantika, Shubhrajita, and Sangeeta who've done the assessment. So I eagerly await the others.
I guess at some branches, a few teachers are sitting together. The teachers who are sitting together may please ask your colleagues to share the assessment and the feedback links with you on WhatsApp. And the teachers can start filling up with the assessment, because on the system, only one person will be able to do it. I would here like to thank Khyati ma'am on behalf of the entire Orchids family. I would like to personally thank you for your presentation today and for sharing your enriched knowledge with each one of us, motivating us to make the teaching learning process more interactive. Judging from the comments of those who attended, the session has been a success, and the credit goes to you, ma'am. Thank you for giving us such a wonderful and interesting presentation. I hope my teachers have gained a lot and they will do a lot of active experiential learning practices in the school now. Here is a small token of appreciation and thanks to you, ma'am.
So much. How pretty.
You're most welcome, ma'am. Anytime. Thank you.